Hello and welcome to Fresh Perspectives. My name is Gail, and my guests today are two ladies who've each been on my program twice before, but not on the same episode, which they will be today. And their names are Elaine Caflisch. Elaine has been on before as a porcelain artist and as a bird rescuer with another friend of hers named Suzette Paduano. And Ann Jackson's been on a couple of times before. You might remember her. She's the lady from the Beaded Forest who works with her husband. Her husband does wood turning and she does beadwork. And Ann also was on another episode of mine talking about when she and her husband lived in Alaska, and that was a really nice episode too. But anyway, the reason that they are on the same program together today is that they share an interest. They go horseback riding together. They live just down the road from each other, and they go horseback riding together very often. How often do you go?
Well, we go spring, summer, winter, and fall.
We do. Almost every day?
Well, I ride almost every day. But Ann probably comes, I don't know, maybe twice a week.
Yeah, right now my husband and I are heavy into making inventory.
Oh,
so haven't been
summer,
riding as much as I'd like, but we go in the snow. Rain is when we don't go, huh?
Right.
Rain
Not that we haven't been caught in rain, but we don't start out in rain.
Oh, okay. The rain is bad for horses then?
No, it's bad for us.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, isn't the art of horseback riding called equine or something? Equine?
Equine is the word that they use for horses. So
for horses, okay. Yeah, I know. A few years ago, we were down at Allegheny State Park. My husband and I and another couple, we had gone down for a hike in an area called, I think it's New Ireland or something like that. It's really kind of a wilderness area of Allegheny State Park, but there were a lot of horseback riders out on the trails that day. I remember the other guy that we were with referring to it as having a lot of equine trails. So I just thought I'd bring up the word. So, okay, what are the benefits of horseback riding?
Oh, it really tones your muscles. Oh, you get out and you see things you wouldn't see otherwise, even riding along the road. We've seen all kinds of things in the ditches. But riding through the woods, you can come across deer, the small animals. It's just peaceful.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
And so you probably don't do a lot of talking then when you're riding in the woods.
We try. We try, but we go single file. So if
I just wondered, I thought it might be kind of hard to see a lot of other wild animals if you were talking, you know. I see more if I'm walking in the woods alone. I see a lot more animals than if I'm with other people, because when I'm with other people, we're talking, so.
Yeah, we talk.
We've come across deer. They've spooked out.
It's okay. It's good exercise. It's enjoying nature.
Oh.
The bond between the human and the animal, and relaxation. And you refer to the horse as a listening friend who doesn't judge.
Yes.
That's like all pets.
You can talk to your horse, and he doesn't know what you're saying.
So if you say something stupid, it doesn't matter, right?
No.
If you say something stupid around other humans,
they know
it, and then maybe it gets gossiped about afterwards.
Elaine has done one thing that just fascinates me. She gives her horses, each horse, a grain mixture in a big rubber bowl every day, and when the horses are done, each one picks up the bowl in its mouth and gives it to her, and then she gives it a treat. And it's the cutest thing.
Oh, okay. So each horse has its own bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and they hand their bowls over.
They
to,
do.
They pick them up and give them to her.
I taught him to do it because my back hurt in the morning. It doesn't anymore, but at the time it did. And it was kind of like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
here, could you just pick it up and give it to me?
Well, you know, this one cat that we used to have, and it's the one that appears on the screen, the gray one, at the beginning of every program. When he was young, he decided there's this bell I would ring if I was trying to get my husband's attention when he was outside somewhere. And it got to where the cat would come running to the porch. And he always did that for his entire 18 years that we had the cat. And so when we adopted the two cats we adopted almost 2 years ago, we decided we'd teach them to come when I would ring the bell on the porch. And I said, well, how do you think we're going to do that with Silver? It was his own idea, you know. But he goes, well, just ring it every time you feed them.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like Pavlov's dogs, I guess. And they do. They come running when I ring the bell. So you can teach a cat to come when you ring a bell. So.
Well, you've heard the expression, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Oh, yes.
And they never met me.
She's taught him.
I taught them to drink on command.
Yeah.
One day, the horse came back, and we hadn't even gone down to the end of the block and back, and he started writhing around. It's like, well, what was different? And the only thing I could think of that was different was he wasn't getting his water out of the big heated bowl anymore, because we got another horse. And so I thought, well, maybe he just doesn't like the regular water. So maybe he's not drinking enough. Maybe that's why he's got a stomach ache. So I have peanuts, and that's another whole story in itself. But I taught the horse to drink by splashing in the water with my hands and then giving him a peanut when I got water on his lips. And pretty soon he's putting his lips in the water himself and splashing around, and give him another peanut, you know. So you basically have to train an animal by anything that they do naturally on their own, and then you give them a signal, and pretty soon all you have to do is give the signal, and then they'll do it. So
Yeah, the animals are pretty interesting. They're actually quite smart.
Well, I know one of her horses that I ride, he tries to fake me out with the
does
water
he?
peanut thing, yeah. He puts his head down there but doesn't go into the water and take a drink, and then he'll come up because he knows I have a peanut for him. No, you got to drink.
You have to drink the water if you want the reward.
well, they are smart.
Yeah, oh
Yeah,
gosh.
they really are smart. I mean, you know, it just amazes me, some of the things that animals come up with on their own, you know. Even some mice are smart about not getting caught in traps, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they know, but oh well. And so you don't really get chances to ride with a lot of other people then? Do you ever?
Oh, yeah.
She does.
I have a trailer, and so we trailer the horse to different places, and we have lots of friends that ride.
Oh, okay, good.
She goes out to Panama. I've gone with her a couple times, and it's so nice out there also. There's trails.
Except that they just wrecked it.
Yeah, cutting
Now they came
trees.
through with the forestry programs or whatever, and because of those Asian beetles or what's that
gosh.
beetle that
What
the one
is
that's
that
always
beetle?
eating the trees?
Yeah.
Well, I know there's the emerald ash.
That's the one.
borer.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it was supposedly
That's
to do
the one
something
that
with the emerald ash, but it's like, well, then why aren't you just taking down the ash trees? No, they took all of the trees.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
So now
no.
instead of riding through a forest, you're going to be riding through wasteland.
Oh
It's
no.
awful.
Oh yeah.
And we had the best trails. We had like 26 miles of trails, and
Yeah, it
half
was
of them are
beautiful.
gone
Oh no.
now. So,
I hate that when too many trees get cut.
I know.
Cut down. It's getting kind of boring to have to drive somewhere in the car, because at least all of the main roads anyway, they have all the trees cut down away from from the roads, so it makes the scenery boring when you don't have all those nice
Well,
trees.
it's all about the money. Somebody somewhere is getting some money out of this.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, I'm sure. So, how did you guys get interested in riding horses? I guess you each have your own individual stories.
Oh, well, with Elaine, years ago I had a horse, but even though I live now where I could have one, I just can't. I'm too busy. But I met Elaine through our artist group, Chautauqua County Society of Artists, and one time she mentioned horses or something, and I said, oh, I love horses, and she said, well, come over and ride. And I thought, no, she's just being nice. And she asked me again another time, so I did. And she's so helpful. I can't saddle a horse because of my shoulder, and she's tinier than me, and she's got these big horses, and she gets those saddles up there, and we have she has a mounting block. What it is different sized logs on the ground that you get on to get on the horse.
Okay.
But she just took me out into her woods, and you know, we do trail riding, and the horses are very well behaved. Oh my gosh. And it went from there. I actually used to ride more when I worked, because I'd get off work at 4 and I'd stop at her house.
because I was on her way home.
Yeah. It was just easier. And but we met that way. She invited me over, and that was nice.
Okay, so you had 2 starts to horseback riding.
Yeah, the one I had years ago was in the late 70s. It's that long. I had a big horse named Shane. And I just, it was in Huntington Beach, California, where you have to keep a horse at a stables.
Oh.
And you can't, there was no place to keep it at a home. I lived in an apartment, I was single. But I had a horse, and I had a Dodge Dart car, and I'd put my saddle and all the tack in the trunk, and I'd go to the stable, and then I saddled him up and stuff and rode in the arena. I didn't do any trail riding till I met Elaine.
Oh, I see.
So there was a big gap in between having a horse and meeting Elaine.
Okay. So what about you, Elaine? What got you interested? Have you been doing it all your life?
No. I always wanted a horse. I mean, my first exposure to them was at the little Allen Park pony ring, where they took you around for, I don't know, it was 10 cents or whatever it was. And I always wanted a horse after that. And when I turned 30 years old, I thought to myself, you know, you're no closer to having a horse today than when you were a little girl wanting one. And it's like, you know, what's wrong with this picture? So I gave myself riding lessons for my 30th birthday present, figuring at least I'd be on a horse. And before I was 31, I'd bought my lesson horse.
Tell her about you riding the ferry with the horse and then crossing the lake.
I used to take him on the ferry, you know, the ferry that crosses the lake there. They would actually wait for me when they'd see me coming, because we were like the entertainment.
Okay.
You know, all the kids would get out of the cars, and everybody's got to come over and pet the horse and whatever. And I guess the guy that owned the stable where I was boarding him at the time called the newspaper and told him about it, and they decided to come and do a story on us. So I was basically, wasn't on the cover of the front page of the Post Journal. It was the second, you know, the second section. And so we were on that. And that's another whole story in itself, because that's how I met my husband. Is
On the ferry, riding the horse?
no, at that stable.
Oh, at the stable.
But his first riding lesson was on the day that picture had come out in the paper. And they said, well, you're riding a famous horse. And he said, I am. And they said, yes, this horse's picture was in the paper today. So he went out and bought the paper, and at the time we didn't even know each other.
Oh.
So he went and he had this picture hanging up on his refrigerator. And I don't know how many months later it was, but we used to ride the horses down 394, and his house was over there. So it was a bunch of us. It wasn't just me and him. There was 3 or 4 other people that boarded there, and we all took his horses into his backyard and had a picnic and whatever. And of course, when you go to the bathroom or get a drink from the sink or whatever, you see the picture up on the refrigerator. And I see you've got my picture on the refrigerator. And he goes, no, I don't. Well, I said, well, yeah, you do. And he says, no, he says, I have a picture of the horse I first rode when I started taking lessons. I go, well, take a closer look at the rider. It's like, it's me. So that was very embarrassing. But I ended up marrying him.
Back then, you met men differently.
Yes,
Now it's in the
evidently.
vegetable aisle at Wegmans or something. I don't know.
Or on the internet.
Yeah, oh yeah.
One time I met a married couple. The wife is from Morocco, and the husband grew up around here. And I asked them how they met each other, thinking they were going to tell me some romantic story about he was traveling through Morocco when he met her or something. And so I asked, how did you meet each other? And they go, on the internet.
It's so different now. Now it's on cell phones even.
Yeah. Okay. How expensive is it to own a horse?
Well, there isn't just feeding them, okay? Because first you have to have a barn. You have to have some sort of enclosure area where they can get out and be in the sunshine and whatever, and grass. But there's oats or some sort of special grain that you have to give them. Then there's dental work. There's veterinarian care. There's shoes, so you have to have the farrier come. You have to have what else? I mean,
You don't
there's
have to have a groomer, because we do that.
Yeah, we do our own grooming. But then you have to have a saddle and a bridle of some sort to
The bedding
riding.
for those
Oh,
stalls.
definitely the bedding, yeah.
So
And then a supply of hay.
Oh,
Right.
it's
So-
expensive.
Yeah.
It adds up.
So you can either keep it on your own property or board it, and if you're boarding it, that's another expense.
Right, but the boarding pretty much covers most everything.
Oh, does it?
It doesn't include like the veterinarian and the farrier and things like that, but when you board your horse, it usually includes the hay and the grain and turnout time and stuff like that, and a stall cleanings. So
Oh, okay. So when you board the horses, somebody else is doing the stall cleaning then?
yes,
Wow.
yeah, I used to. That's how I first started. Was I had my horse be boarded, and I got a reduced board rate in order to let them use my horse as a class horse. 'Cause
Oh,
that's
I
how
see.
I started riding him. Anyhow, he was my class horse.
Oh, okay.
But,
Uh-huh.
so I got a reduced fee, but generally speaking, I mean, it's a couple $100 a month, I would guess, at least
Easy.
now.
Oh, yeah.
And then the cleaning. Her horses are so sweet and gentle. I mean, they're good horses, though, but you could clean the stall with them in it. I mean, you bring in the wheelbarrow and the fork, and all you have to do is say, move. when you
Well,
need
you can actually point to them and say, over,
Yeah.
and they'll actually move out of your way.
I remember waking up around 6 or 6:30 one morning. This was quite a few years ago. And it was a sunny spring day. It was early May, and I remember happening to glance out the bedroom window while I was still in bed and seeing a blonde-colored animal walking around in the yard. And my first thought was that, maybe one of the neighbor's dogs is walking around out there or something. I thought I saw a horse, but it was probably somebody's dog. And then a moment later, I see a donkey walk past. And it's like, oh my gosh. So I got up and put on my bedroom slippers and a jacket and went running outside. And at first, I didn't see them then. So I thought maybe, was I dreaming it, or what?
As you're coming out of
But then
sleep.
I thought, well, I better start going down. I'll go see, maybe if they just disappeared down the path in the woods on our property, And sure enough, there they were going down the trail,
Oh, no.
a horse and a donkey.
Alone?
Without people, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
A horse and a donkey. So I'm running down the path trying to get them to stop and maybe try to bring them back to the yard or something. So I, somehow make them, just stay put or something till I could find out who owned them and everything, Well, here I am in my pajamas and bedroom slippers with a jacket over it, running through the woods after this donkey and this horse. But so then when I finally had to give up because they turned off the path and was going through all the brushy stuff and heading for the next road over. So I went back to the house and called the sheriff's department. And the person that answered at the sheriff's department said, well, we did have one other call from the road that you live on.
Oh, how funny.
Somebody had seen 3 horses going down the road, and I said, no, actually what I saw was 1 horse and 1 donkey, no 3rd horse. Well, finally, I guess I was the only one that gave the sheriff's department my name. So actually the owner called me later in the day to thank me for reporting it and everything, and letting the sheriff's department know what direction I saw them going in. And it turned out there had been another horse, but when apparently what happened was when the 3 animals got to the end of our driveway, 2 of them turned up our driveway and the other one kept going down the road and wound up at somebody else's house. But,
They were just on a walk.
it was a pretty funny
Aw.
experience. I had a good laugh over that. Okay, where do you ride? You said down the road and through the woods and
Over the hills and
over
through the
hills.
woods.
Well, we're kind of, I don't know, forced to use the roads because a lot of the lands are posted. So, and they're legal and welcome on the roads, but people today, because not everybody has horses, people don't know what the proper etiquette is. And one thing is they should slow down and they need to move over.
the cars.
Yes. My horse is very well trained, but they're considered flight or fight animals. And their first response is flight. If you scare the horse, I'm going to be down in the ditch, up the other side. Maybe the horse will spook into you instead of spooking away, which means now you're going to hit the horse.
Oh.
And I mean, they're a big animal and they're little tiny legs, so you're going to get the whole brunt of their body coming through the windshield at you. They need to be careful.
I have actually heard of a couple of different incidents just here within the Mayville area where people have hit horses with their cars. I know that, so horses have the right of way then.
Yes, they have the right of way in every situation. It's even with bicyclists, the horse has the right of way. Not because people want horses to have the right of way, oh, we're so wonderful. It's because they're
of
a
what
flight
could
animal.
happen if you don't give them the right of way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we have to ride with the flow of traffic, the same direction.
Oh,
the cars go.
okay, like bicycles.
Yeah, we're not like a pedestrian where you're on the opposite side of the road. You ride with traffic.
Okay, okay. What can we tell the average non-horse owner about safety around horses, not only on the road, but on your property and when riding a horse?
We've rode through neighborhoods, and kids get real excited. They'll be out with their mom or something, and they should. Actually, a lot of people do, even kids and adults, ask if they can pet the horse first, because we'll stop. And I think it's important to ask first. If you go running up to the horse, you might scare it. Not her horses, but still, they should know to just.
Well, that's the same thing they say
approach
about
slowly.
dogs.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And Her horses are so good when people come up, you know, they ask and then they can pet their face and their nose.
And we usually have a pocket full of peanuts or treats of some sort, and then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, how, we'll, you know, make friends with a horse. Now, one of the things you have to understand if you're going to be feeding a horse is your hand has to be perfectly flat. If you have your fingers up like this, they could actually bite your fingers. Accidentally, but it'll hurt. They've got big teeth. So you tell people and show them, and if you put it right up to the horse's mouth, they just take their lips and it's real
Yeah.
soft, and they just pick the peanut up or whatever.
There's one man who walks his dog, Kona. He's like, what, a husky dog or something? And it's over where, Grandview area. And he'll be out walking his dog, and his dog sees us, and the dog wants to go see the horses. He loves the horses. The dog is very well behaved around the horses, but they do nose to nose. It's so cute.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He says the dog sees us from a mile away and starts getting all excited.
Well, to him, those horses are friends of his. You
They have
know?
4 legs.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice.
So you wear helmets when you're riding?
You should.
Well, you're supposed to.
You don't
really
know.
should.
Yes.
Well, no, I mean, it's like if you were riding in a convertible, do you want to have a helmet on your head? I mean, I understand the safety reasons for children, but
Well, you know, people on motorcycles and bicycles nowadays are
Yeah.
wearing helmets.
right,
So
and a lot of horse riders do, and it's good for you because if you fall off, it hurts when your head hits.
and how old do horses live to be about?
Well, 25 or to 30 is usually.
I'm riding the horse of hers I ride the most, Skip. He's up there in age.
Oh, he's
He's about 30.
Yeah.
is he really? Oh.
He doesn't look it.
But
It's perfect.
Looks
hair.
good for his age.
oh my
Special
gosh.
food.
Oh, she
Special
did-
expensive food.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
But yeah.
He gets his. Actually, Sailor, her other horse, gets a different food.
Oh, they're
different
all,
hay.
They all have different food. They all have different hay.
There's Sailor's
They have their
hay.
favorite foods, do they?
Yes, they do.
Do they eat carrots?
Most horses do.
Yeah, I've heard of that carrots eat horses, so I just thought.
Carrots eat horses.
I mean, did I say that? Horses
Wow.
eat. I heard
No more carrots.
No more carrots for you.
No, no.
They
I
love
said that in the
apples.
wrong order. I meant to say I heard that
know.
horses eat carrots.
Yes, and apples.
Oh,
But
yeah.
my one horse, the one that I ride the most, he has something called Cushing's disease, which is sort of like diabetes in humans.
Oh, is it?
So you have to be real careful of sugar. Now there's sugar in hay, there's sugar in grass, there's sugar in...
So he's on a special diet.
Yes. So he can't have carrots and apples. That's how we ended up coming up with the peanuts. I have a friend, Mary, that researched it and online and everything, and she said, well, horses can have peanuts. I was like, you must have read that wrong.
They love
So
one.
we researched it together. Yeah, they eat peanuts, just like an elephant. Peanuts in the shell.
Okay.
And they love them.
Oh, yeah.
And he can have those, so that's how, I mean, when I have treats, and they're easy to carry, pockets full of peanuts. I mean, if you try to carry a carrot, well, carrots sweat, you know, they're from the refrigerator, so
Oh,
now
yeah.
they sweat and
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Peanuts are perfect.
If you have them in your pocket,
Yeah.
Skip, the horse I ride, knows. And
Oh, they
oh,
always know what you have in your pockets.
Yeah.
Okay, where's the best place to see horses? Probably not at a horse
Well,
race.
Countryside,
Well,
country
that's a good,
roads.
yeah,
fairs.
the fairs, yeah. There's a place called Equine Affair that they just had it, or is it Equifest? Equine Affair
Equifest.
is in Ohio, and they just
Yeah.
had that too.
Yeah,
But
Equifest.
there's, especially if you know anybody that has horses, they probably know about those places. But just driving down the country roads and stuff, you'll see them. So,
Sure. Yeah, somebody has a couple of horses on the road that we live on. Whenever I see them out in winter weather, the horses are wearing coats.
blankets, yeah.
Yeah. So.
But there's a place called Double Dab Riding Stable that's up,
Ripley.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. There is that. Right. Yeah.
and so you can rent horses to ride there.
Are there any good books on horses that you could
Oh.
recommend?
My.
Well,
books.
magazines, too.
Well, back when I was in school, the teachers, they'd have like contests and stuff like that to see who could read the most books over the summer or whatever. And I always won, but it was because I was always reading horse books. And the teachers would ask my mom and say, could you get her to read something else? It's like,
Well,
no.
why
that
would
was my
anybody
favorite.
want to read something they weren't interested
Especially
in?
when you're young.
Well,
Yeah,
because it's interesting.
I mean, of course you're going to want to read books on the subjects that you're interested
It's
in.
not like reading a dictionary about horses. It's kind of like the difference between reading a biography and then, what's that other one? Well, the one where they take history and make it come alive by making a fake character in the book, but whatever happens to this character is something that really happened in real life, that kind of thing. So it's like, there's a book called Summer Pony, and this young girl begs and begs for a horse, and her parents rent one for the summer. Well, then the horse gets out into the apple orchard, and he eats too many apples, and he gets sick. And it's things that, could happen in real life, and it teaches you things about horses that maybe you wouldn't have known otherwise. And yet it's still a story about a young girl and her adventures over the summer. It's not like you have to read a book like Flicka and it's all about just one horse. I mean, there's lots of horse-themed books and whatever.
Right.
Horse-themed TV shows.
And just books on how to own and care for a horse would be good too. Well, maybe I guess we should move along to the pictures now that you guys
fun.
brought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Elaine is on one of the horses.
I am. I'm on the, well, for me looking at it, I'm on the left. I'm on the,
Oh, you're on the far left?
yes.
Oh, okay. That's you on that horse.
That's my horse Sailor.
Okay.
And then my mom is on Sinbad there.
Sinbad. Okay.
And then my mother-in-law is standing by the car.
And your mother-in-law is standing by. Oh, so she wasn't on a horse.
She was not on the horse.
Does she ride horses when?
No.
No, she doesn't.
No.
Okay.
I guess her sister had a horse when she was growing up, but that's as
Does your mother
Close as
still?
she ever
Does
got.
your mother still ride horses? I
well,
know
she's got
in.
a bad back. So.
I know she's in her 90s.
No, she's not. She's in her 80s.
Oh, who told me? Somebody told me your mother was.
My
in her-
mother-in-law is in her 90s.
Oh, okay, that's it.
But my mother is in her
80s. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she's had a lot of back surgery. and
So she's
everything,
not riding anymore.
She's not riding now.
Well, she looked good in the picture there.
Did she?
Yeah, she really did.
So. Okay, now that white horse that you just saw that I was on, this is the same horse. Horses change color over the years depending on what color horse you have. And a gray horse, which is what that is, will turn white by the time he gets older. So that kind of was to show you that there is a difference in the coloring and stuff. That's the same horse, that Sailor. But we ride spring, summer, winter, and fall, and that was the springtime with all the apple blossoms on the trees.
It's a beautiful picture, yeah.
And plus it showed him, moving along. So.
Yeah, he's a nice horse.
This was taken down in Tennessee, and I went down for my 50th birthday and for my 55th birthday. And that was, I think, well, I won't say because it shows what the date is there. However,
2007. Okay,
Yeah.
that was, let's see, 2007. That would have been about 10 years? No.
Yeah, 10,
11 years ago.
Yeah.
But they had a whole bunch of kids at this baseball field, and of course we were riding, and couldn't we have rides? So we decided,
so
okay, we'll
fun.
give pony rides. And there was like 5 or 6 of us, and we just got off and led the horses around, and of course all the parents were there, and the parents gave permission, and then we just tucked the kids up on top, and we just led them around in some circles there. But impromptu things like that happen sometimes, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And that's me and Ann together. Now, the horse she's riding there, there was a story that went along with that horse. He came with the name Bandit.
Oh, really?
Oh,
And we
this
didn't like
is
the name.
interesting.
And so we named him Duke with, like from John Wayne. And we had saved him. He was heading for the auction.
Oh.
And he bucked my husband off. He did quite a few bad things. And so a girl, I put him up for sale, and a girl called, and she had had a horse that looked just like him, and that horse's name was Bandit. And she just had to have him. I told him everything that he did. She never had trouble with him.
Yeah.
I think
You let her buy him then.
But I think God put that horse
Yeah.
in my pasture just for
So
a short
that-
while,
So that
she could end up with him.
Find him.
Yep. Yep.
There's
And
Anne.
That's
Proof
in the
that we
snow.
ride in the snow.
Yep.
You weren't wearing a hat on your head that day? It didn't look like you had a hat on.
Wasn't, must not have been that cold.
No. And then this is a painting that I did. This is a foal. And when I paint, I pretty much put flowers in everything too, so not many people have animals and flowers together all the time, but that's kind of me.
Yeah, well, some of you may have noticed that today Elaine is wearing a flowered print blouse and horse earrings,
horse
and
earrings
a
and
horse
necklace, yep.
necklace. Yeah.
Because I put them together, flowers and horses. Yep. It's crazy.
Okay, and that is...
Sailor.
That's Sailor again, my white horse. That's a while ago.
Is that you on?
That's me.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when I'd let my hair go back to its natural color. And that's in fall. So see, you've had
pretty.
a spring, summer, winter, and fall photographs to prove we ride year-round.
Okay. And there you're
And there we
riding,
are in Tennessee.
riding
You can
in
see
a
my horse's ears at the very bottom of the screen because I'm using
You're
my
on the
camera
horse.
and taking pictures of what we were riding through.
Okay, a stream of some sort?
Oh, it was more than a stream, it was a river, and I
Oh, was
actually
it?
ended up falling off. Oh, yes, the horse slipped on a rock and we went down.
Oh,
I was absolutely soaked, and that was on my birthday.
April,
So I got a birthday baptism.
Okay. Now, okay.
He put them together.
They put them
That's
together,
nice.
that's a riot.
Oh,
That's one horse that has rolled in the mud and is exactly filthy dirty. And we wanted to show some before and afters, and so
Those are befores.
Those were
Is
befores.
that Sailor and Skip?
No, that was-
exactly the same.
there's two more.
Skip is on the left and Sailor's on the right on this one.
Oh, okay, this is two
So
different
this is
horses.
two different horses. The last
Okay.
picture was the same horse.
Caked in mud before we
Okay.
groomed them.
Before we
What
got
we'll
them
be
all
doing
brushed.
tomorrow.
And that looks like Anne getting ready to clean the horse.
That's exactly what she's doing. Yep.
And the same horse is on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Sailor, that's Sailor. He was that gray horse you showed earlier when he was younger.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's
You're
that's
gonna
what it
have
looks
to,
like
you're
as
gonna,
she.
you're going to have to describe this one. I'm not going to try to.
We wanted to show a handful how when you brush them this time of year and they're shedding.
After, in the spring.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they shed. Just like my dog.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we wanted to show all the hair and what's involved, and that's what comes off the horse.
Wow.
Just in
Wow.
one little brushing.
This was recent.
Uh-huh.
A lot of hair. That's Sailor.
Both of those are Sailor?
And
And that's after they've been cleaned.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
How much of their
No mud.
Okay.
the mud doesn't look so brown. It just
gray.
It's just caked into their
Yeah.
fur.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, how cute.
that's
That face looking out of the stall.
it's Sailor. He's got the most beautiful eyes and
He
Oh.
actually has
Oh.
gold flecks in them.
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, that is an adorable picture.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Those are. You just want to pet his nose.
Yeah.
I actually kissed their noses, which appalled Elaine in the beginning. You don't do that, which is, you don't. But her horses are so sweet now, she kisses them on the nose.
Yeah.
Do you know if that was all of your pictures then?
I think probably.
Yeah, fair
Okay.
enough. Yeah, it's nice he doubled them up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see the pictures.
We
you know.
wanted to show it not just riding, but some of the care you have to do. You can't leave them like that. Now,
Right.
they're caked in mud right now, and we're riding tomorrow, so I'll go, and then we'll each brush the horses and get the mud off, and hair comes with it still.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Like a lot of the dogs that we've had.
Oh my gosh,
You
yeah,
know.
my dog.
Okay, what is the difference between Western and English riding?
Well, a lot of it is the saddle, but it's also the way you use the reins. When you have an English saddle, there is no horn to hang on to. The stirrups come down off of just a little tiny thin piece of leather, and it's more like a little iron stirrup that you put your foot in. When you're riding Western, there's a horn to hang on to if you're a little unstable. There's
Oh, God.
places in the front and the back that kind of come up around you to help keep you in the saddle. The stirrups are hung on a hefty piece of leather instead of just a little strap. When you put the bridles on the horses, when you're riding Western, it's what they call one rein riding. So the two reins come in to your hand like this, and then you turn the horse this way. When you're riding English, each rein has a hand, so you're riding two-handed. That's the basic differences between them.
It sounds like it might be a little bit harder, English riding.
I would think so.
It all depends on what you're doing on the horse.
Yeah, that's true. That's
If you're running around barrels or you're chasing cows and stuff like that, it's
You're
pretty
not
hard on
English.
Western.
Can do it on English.
Yeah, I did hear you had a little accident last year with one of your horses.
You did. You mean, okay.
Weren't you
We
di-
taught my horse how to do it. It's called a one-rein stop. So I'm riding with two hands, and if I pull one rein just a little bit, it means stop. Well, when you're turning a horse, you pull it out this way a little bit. So it's just a bit of a difference to the horse, but I'm pulling out just a little bit. Well, my nieces were up from Florida, and we got to the point where it was their last day there, and come on in, Elaine, show us how to ride. So, show off that I am. Okay, we get on the horse, and we're galloping, going around as fast as we can go. And I go to turn him, and he thinks I'm doing the one rein stop. And he, bam, slams on the brakes, and I went right up and over and sailed and landed on my back.
And had a back injury, but you recovered,
I
okay. Oh, that's good.
I did, but we don't do that anymore. My show-off days have come to an end.
Okay. So how do you train your horse to do tricks?
Well, you find something that they either do naturally, like, say, drinking. And we went through that with giving them the peanuts and whatever. If you can find something that, like we taught them how to nod yes. So you only ask them yes questions. Do you love me? Yes.
It's
You
funny.
wait for the horse to do that given thing where they're nodding their head, and you immediately give them something, and they think, well, what did I do to deserve that? Well, the next time they nod their head, give them a peanut. I mean, you got to do it almost immediately, but eventually they just associate it with, oh, every time I nod my head, she gives me a peanut. Pretty soon, well, if I really nod my head, will she give me a peanut?
They nod their heads a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, do you have some other tricks you'd like to mention that your horses know?
Well, those are the three. That's
Those are the
basically
three?
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, now about the skin and coat care, I know you brush them. You bathe them
In the summer.
in the summer only.
Well, you have to have it be nice enough weather that when you take a hose, I mean, a lot of people have heated things, well, I don't. But I'll go in the house and get a bucket of warm water and, do it that way. But to give them a real bath where you're, go head to tail and the whole 9 yards, it has to be pretty hot.
So if you get hot days, not like April of this year, but April,
not like April of this year.
April and May of some years, and sometimes in September and October you get some hot
Yep.
days. You can do it then too, right?
I do.
And she
Okay.
uses a special You use special shampoo, and then is it a conditioner you put on their hair?
Yeah.
Oh, it makes them shine.
And it's soft. I mean, when you
Oh.
feel their coat, it's just so nice. It's more expensive than my shampoo.
Oh,
Like, way more expensive.
you know, is it that same shampoo that they've been selling in recent years for people to use?
I've seen that, and I've used it, but my newest one that I use
Is something different.
something different. Yeah.
Okay. Now about veterinary care, what kind of vaccinations do horses need?
Well, they have to have rabies, which, even dogs.
All pet mammals have to have.
They have to have rabies, and then there's some for to getting it for like a cold, and then there's
I've seen you give them vitamins in their mouth
yeah.
with this long thing.
So there's all kinds of. I mean, there's ones that you have to give. Like, say if you're going to take your horse out of state, or you're going to take him to a horse show, it's kind of like the ones like they have for dogs.
The
like
parvo.
you have to have a special ones. Well, they have special ones for horses too.
Medications. Yeah, okay. The ones that keep them calm on the trip.
No,
No?
they keep them from spreading germs to other horses,
Oh, okay.
so that they
okay.
don't get sick.
Okay. What about dental care? You've mentioned something here called floating teeth.
Yes,
That's a bizarre name
it's kind.
for it.
I know. In the older days, before they had special newfound tools that they have, it would be like the rasp that they use on a horse's foot to. It's kind of like an emery board for your fingernails, only it's bigger for the horse's foot. That's not the tool that they would use, but it would be something like that where they file the horse's teeth. They get like little points coming, and now they have special rotary tools, and the guy has like a little clip-on thing on his belt, and then like when you go to the dentist, how they have the nice fine little, and it's got a little round head on it, and it spins around, and then he gets in there and files their teeth. It's really cool.
Weird.
But as they grow, the horse's teeth keep getting longer, and
Yeah.
they wear them off different by the way they chew their grass. And so sometimes they get these little points on them, and it hurts them. So you have to have
I
some dental
see.
care. It's not like just something it would be nice if we don't want them to get cavities or something.
Yeah.
And they don't get cavities. But
You don't go out every day and brush them.
no.
Now, what about foot care? I imagine there's a reason that horses do not run around barefoot.
Well, they do run around barefoot a lot.
Do they?
Oh, yes. In fact, my horses are barefoot right now.
Oh, okay.
But they grow just like your fingernails do. And
Oh, the hooves do?
so then you have to have them trimmed. And the farrier is the one that does that, although I do have a rasp of my own. And when the horses, when they grow, they'll kind of come out like this a little bit. You file that part off so that they don't chip and break. You don't want that.
Oh, okay.
And you clean their hooves.
Yeah, on a daily basis.
There's a
If
tool
possible.
that you pick up their foot and the pad part, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You get in there and clean the mud and dirt out and rocks.
Okay. And what do you use for bedding?
I use sawdust. Now you have to get a certain kind of sawdust. You can't just get any old sawdust. The bark from cherry trees and stuff is poisonous to horses, and it'll actually curl their hooves or something.
my gosh.
Horrible for them. So you have to make sure that it's just pine bedding or bedding that doesn't have any cherry in it. And then there's pelletized bedding, like the wood pellet stove pellets that you can get.
Oh,
They have that for horses too,
Uh-huh.
and that works real good. Like to put that in their wet spots where they urinate. So
Oh, okay.
Well, she didn't mention, but in her stalls underneath, there's rubber.
that's true. We put rubber matting down
Oh,
to keep the moisture from coming up through,
I see. Okay.
and it's a little bit softer.
Okay.
If you just had a dirt barn floor, that's what the barn was when we originally got there. All dirt has stones and stuff in it. And can you imagine, you're laying down and I mean, their skin is just covering their bones, and then they're having to use their whole weight to get up. And what if there was a little stone there? It would hurt.
Yeah, it would.
So,
it would.
So we put down rubber mats for them.
And your big water tank, I found this fascinating. In the winter, she has a heater in it, so their water's warm, so it won't it would have froze this year for
It
sure.
sure would have, yeah. But we have heated cat bowls up, for the outdoor barn cat, and we eat all kinds of things.
I just wanted to mention to Chris that I might possibly want to run over a few minutes just to make sure we can finish all of the questions here, because this is a really interesting topic. Let's see. How old does a horse have to be before you can begin riding it?
Has to be at least 2 years old.
At least 2. Okay.
Yeah.
So no baby horses then. Does it take them that long to get full grown?
For their bones to be able to bear weight.
Okay.
With a human on.
Okay. And when do you retire them from being ridden?
Yeah. In their late 20s usually.
The horse I ride is facing retirement. And then he'll just live a life of ease, and I'll come over and still brush him and kiss him on the nose and give him a peanut.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the best way to get a horse trained to accept a scary object like a flag or a plastic bag?
Well, if you have it in front of the horse and move it away from the horse and have the horse follow it. So like say you take a long stick and you put something on the end and you start tapping the ground like this out in front and lead the horse. When the horse follows it, for some reason, it's like it's not so scary. And pretty soon you can bring it up closer and closer to him. Pretty soon you can have it up and on him and around him and everything else. But have them follow it first.
Okay. I do have to ask, why would you be training a horse to accept, I can see maybe a flag, but a plastic bag?
Oh.
Well, people throw things out their car windows and they happen to be along the road, and this little plastic bag is blown into the bushes, and it's bigger than a big butterfly. The horse looks at it, and now it's between you and the car. I want him to accept a plastic bag. I don't want him so scared of it that he'll choose getting hit.
It's
that's why.
amazing what they see when you're riding them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she's right. They see all kinds of stuff in the ditch. And
Yeah. And of course, the one thing that you don't think of, that'll be the one, so you're not training them for that, that'll be the one thing that'll happen while you're out there,
Yeah.
Well,
I had to ask, it just sounded, okay. Do you ride in any weather? But I think we kind of
covered that one.
covered
basically,
that one.
We ride in all weather except thunder and lightning.
How do you trailer your horse?
Okay, well, we have a truck, and then there's a special trailer that's designed for horses, and you lead the horse in and shut the door and give him some hay or whatever, and he learns to accept it. But it's very scary if you've ever gone in the back of a trailer and ridden there to hear what the noises are. And it's very, very trusting of the horse to get into such a confined space, because they don't like that. They are a claustrophobic animal. And you put them in a trailer. I'll tell you what, my horses can tell the difference between when I go to Panama to ride and when I took my horse over to Clymer to see my mother-in-law. He came flying out of the trailer because it was a little bit longer, and he didn't recognize those road sounds. They learn to accept, what you're teaching them, but if you vary,
they know.
they know. Yeah.
Okay, how do you deal with flies?
I actually use
This is so
feed-through fly control, so that when the horse eats the food that has the fly control in it, it goes through his system without hurting him, and it passes out in his manure. Now, flies are always attracted to manure, and there's something in it that when they lay their eggs, the eggs can't hatch. So the
It's
fly
something
is
that
eventually
prevents the
eradicating
fly's
his
eggs from hatching.
Yes.
Her barn, you go in it, as soon as fly season, there aren't flies, which is unusual. Now, there's manure in there because they've gone, and you got to go in and clean it.
And I clean 3 times a day.
And even on the yes, she's so good about it. She cleans more than I clean my house. But
It's more rewarding.
that's true. That's true. The fly control's incredible. Mm-hmm. And you go in other people's barns with horses, and she's tried to educate people about it. Her horse friends in that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, have you been very successful? It's amazing how it works.
Oh, I just tell people my horse's manure is worth gold. You want my horse's manure.
No flies.
Yeah, you don't know how this product works?
That is how it works. It's called Feed Through Fly Control, and it
Feed Through Fly Control, and it's absolutely non-toxic.
It's non-toxic to the horse, but it stays in the... Now, there's another thing you can get called fly predators, which are like little teeny, they're like this big, little miniature wasps, and they claim that they don't sting or hurt humans, but there are more bugs.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah,
supposedly
really.
they just hang around the manure piles and whatever, and you take and sprinkle them here and sprinkle them there, and they're supposed to eat flies. Well, those are the live ones. I've got a fly swatter for that. You know, I don't want to be introducing more bugs, but I mean, that'd be my luck, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I do the Feed Through Fly Control.
Yeah, like with fleas on dogs and cats, I found using something called diatomaceous earth to put on the cats and the dogs will kill the fleas without being toxic to the pets or the
It's a powder?
humans. Yeah, it's like a powdered clay.
Oh.
It's a type of clay, and if the fleas get it inside their bodies, there's something about the shape of it that it kills them.
Oh.
But it's not actually a poison. It's just just something that just this clay, the way it's shaped, it kills the fleas.
That's
So-
interesting.
Well, you know how they give you flea collars and stuff for dogs and cats too. They have actual flea collars for horses.
Oh, do they?
And they have bands that you can put around their legs. So there's more than one way to do some of the different things.
Oh, yeah.
And with the flies, a lot of people put fly masks on their horses, which the horse can see through them. When you look out, you see a horse and it looks like he's got something over his face. He actually can see through that, but the holes are so small that the flies can't get in.
Oh,
and then
oh,
it keeps them
yeah.
from because they
Yeah.
seem to like the eyes because there's moisture there.
And
that keeps them out of that.
another thing I heard somewhere one time was taking those laundry dryer sheets and attaching them like to your pets. I don't know if it actually
I've
works.
never heard
I've
that.
taken dryer sheets and put them all over my bridle while I'm riding. I've tried it all.
Did it help or not?
Well, where we ride, it'd be pretty hard to tell. Because where we ride, it's like you get attacked by a whole pack of those little three-cornered flies. That,
Oh.
and we always thought that if we had the or the dryer sheets on, that maybe it wasn't quite as bad. But who knows? It might have been just the day.
Yeah.
I know, I've heard that. We've actually tried wearing laundry dryer sheets ourselves and don't find it particularly helpful.
But we try, right? That's all we can do.
Right. Okay, well, I wanted to say thank you for coming on today. It was so much
Oh,
fun.
it's always fun to come here
talking
and talk
about-
to you.
We just
About
like talking
this.
with you.
Yeah. So, but we've come to the end of another episode of Fresh Perspectives, and I'll see the rest of you in a couple of weeks.
Bye.